This week on the RV Podcast,
Campground thefts, how to protect your gear while you're camping.
And somebody's trying to keep folks out of an Oregon National Forest by they're burying, can you believe, planks that are booby-trapped with nails?
How RVers can get a nice break on diesel prices.
All this, plus the RV news of the week, and your questions, coming up on episode 521 of the RV Podcast.
Hello everybody, I'm Mike Wendland, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride Jennifer, and swarming around us are gnats.
Our new friends.
And about 3 gazillion Japanese beetle ladybugs. We are in the middle of the forest on our property, our RV property at Loblolly Ridge is what we call it. It's part of the Woodlands development near Linden, Tennessee. And these hot fall days have brought out gnats, ladybugs, fire ants, scorpions. I don't want to go any further. That's all we've seen so far. But it's very temporary because as soon as the weather changes, they're gone. They haven't been here at all. This is just kind of an aberration. The ladybugs or the Japanese beetles or whatever there are, they swarm like this once a year. I guess they do in the spring too when they're hatched, but holy cow, it's been a real invasion. Now I know why they call it an invasive species.
Hey, if it's the worst thing that happens to us, how lucky we are.
Oh, as you can see, this is just a beautiful spot. The only noise we hear right now is the wind in the loblolly pines, and weather's been absolutely phenomenal. All over the country, the weather's been like this.
It's so nice. I absolutely love blue sky because Michigan tends to have a lot of rain. And this blue sky that we've had the last month, and I guess it's even blue sky at home.
Yeah, we have been camping the last month mostly along the Gulf Coast, the Emerald Coast of Florida's Panhandle. We had a big gathering there a month or so ago, and then we've been just poking along and enjoying this weather. No rain in a month, blue skies, 70 degrees. It's been perfect.
It really has, and the gathering was so much fun.
Yes, we'll be talking about gatherings in our question of the week, and if you are a fan of our gatherings, stay tuned because we're going to sneak peek a little bit of information for you. But we have a lot to cover. First, we should tell you that if you are watching this, then you're part of our YouTube community. This streams on our RV Lifestyle YouTube channel. And of course, the audio version is available on all your all of your favorite podcasts. There's a gnat on my nose.
Gnats crawling all over your face.
Okay.
Okay. Let the fun begin.
Let the fun begin. On all your favorite podcast apps, do us a favor, you podcast folks, give us a thumbs up, and we love those 5-star reviews. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. All right, we talked about the spectacular weather. And we also want to tell you that there's a great opportunity in our giveaway. We do a couple of giveaways every month, usually 2 weeks long. We got a few days left now before our next one. And this is awesome. This is camping about a half a mile or half an hour from Zion National Park in Utah at the gorgeous Yogi Bear Jellystone Park there at Zion. They call it Zion, Utah Jellystone Park.
And I can tell you, those parks are awesome. They are fun. And this is a new one, and this is such a great giveaway. Register.
We've got 2 prizes. One's a month-long camping, and that's great because you can use that as your base and explore all the other national parks around Utah. And the other one's 3 one-week stays.
Not 1, not 2, but 3
Yep.
1-week stays. So you have opportunity 4 different times to win.
So to join, all you have to do is go to rvlifestyle.com/sweepstakes. You can join as many times as you want to enter the sweepstakes, and we will announce the winner, I believe, this coming Sunday. And this is being released to you on October 30th of 2024, so that will be November 3rd. Yeah, November 3rd.
So we got to make sure we have internet.
Oh yeah, we'll be on the road, won't
Yeah.
we? Yeah, we'll have internet. I think we're gonna. I know we're gonna stay.
In a good place.
All right, we want to get right to our conversation of the week, but before we do that, we got to tell you about. You see, this is our RV land here in Tennessee. We've owned it 2 years. It's like our private little RV retreat. That's our main spot where I have our Montana fifth wheel. We have a pad there. We have 2 other pads here. We've made it just a real nice getaway.
Aren't we going on 3 years?
3 years. I said 2. Yeah,
you said 2.
Time flies.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
But the developer of this has a brand new project that they just opened up for sale, and it's not too far from here. We drove it the other day actually. It's called the Retreat at Paris Landing, and let's show you what that's like. Kentucky Lake is one of the most visited sites in Tennessee. It's one of the biggest lakes east of the Mississippi and a great vacation spot, perfect for RVers. Tennessee Land and Lakes, the company Jen and I bought our property from, is launching a grand opening of new property at the lake. They're big properties that allow for RVs near Paris Landing State Park, right near the marina, golf courses, resorts, and a slew of other great attractions. It's one of the most popular parts of the lake where it's at its widest and a really beautiful spot. There are large acreage, 5 to 29 acre sites in size, designed for privacy at great prices for the area with dedicated private access to Kentucky Lake. It's an ideal setup for RVers. Prices start at $99,900, and they've got woods and fields and views, cottages, and more with electric and high-speed internet. You can get details and a video tour at rvlands.net. Visit rvlands.net to get started. It's pretty incredible. All right, welcome back now. It's time for the conversation of the week, and this week we want to talk about campground thefts. Now, I got to say, we have never experienced any campground theft, have we?
No, I'm thinking about it, and I don't think we've ever had anything taken.
Now, I'm an old police reporter, so I'm kind of paranoid about putting stuff away and not keeping things out, unattended when we're not around, but we haven't had a problem.
I was raised in a family where my mom always said, don't tempt people to steal.
Yeah. People don't need a lot of temptation, do they?
So I was raised that way, that if you can put it away or not let it just be really sitting out there, don't do that.
The reason we're having this conversation is because we just had a very, very detailed discussion about it on our RV Lifestyle Facebook group. And I was stunned, I think you were too, about how many people had reported problems with campground theft. It all started with a post from Mary Jean.
Yeah, Mary Jean said that she posted a picture of a campfire at night, and somebody took their chairs while they were gone. And so there was their beautiful campfire, and they didn't have any chairs to sit upon.
Now, they were staying at the Turkey Run State Park Campground in Indiana when this happened. She and her husband left their site, they said, for a few hours. They came back, and their chairs were gone. They didn't know what to do. And
their neighbors didn't see anything. Nobody saw anything unusual, and they reported it. But what are you going to do? You report the theft, but you don't have your chairs.
They even drove around the campground, looked to see if they could see them someplace else. No sign of them. So after filling out that theft report, they spent a night gathered around their campfire with no chairs.
Yeah, and boy, posting that got so many responses. I think there were over 600 responses. Yeah. People talking about this.
And what struck us when we read that was how many others had similar stories of theft. As I said, we have not experienced that ourselves, but we put together just a few of the samples. You want to start with some, and we'll just go back and forth and read you some selected ones.
Now, here is Joe, and he says, we were camping in Arizona recently, went off for the day, came back, and someone had stolen my wife's bathing suit. I would be so furious about that, because it's a lot of work to pick out a bathing suit that fits and that you like and everything. And that ruins your vacation if you only had one bathing suit.
Oh my God.
And she had it hanging on a drying rack. So shame on you, whoever stole that bathing suit. I mean, you don't expect somebody to steal your bathing suit.
No, you don't.
So all the more reason that maybe you need to hang it inside if at all possible.
Or be out when you put it out there. Lori wrote, somebody stole our portable trash can. They left the trash that was inside on the ground, and they were at the Colorado River RV campground in Texas.
And here's Beth. She was at a state park in Ohio. Things were disappearing from campsites during the summer months a couple years ago. Turns out it was indigent people living in the surrounding forest, and they would come out at night and steal food and other items to sell.
That's not good.
So that's our heartland. We got Indiana, we got Ohio.
Yep. We have Texas. Now we have Gail. She said, we had several items stolen over the years. Lots of firewood, lighter fluid, the regulator for our Weber grill, our fire ring, our grill grate, our leveling bricks, our picnic table. Heck, all at our seasonal site, they even stole the gravel. Nothing is safe anymore. I can see why you think that, Gail.
I don't know where Gail is camping, but they even took the gravel. Good grief.
Yeah.
Like I say, I wonder where she's been camping.
All right, what else we got?
Sherry, someone recently stole a 5-gallon can of gas out of the truck.
James, our first night of camping at a Montana campground in Flathead Lake, we had our coolers and our week's worth of food stolen. Somebody snuck and stole all the coolers, the food, the drinks. I've never been the same since. I lock and cable everything. I hate it.
Robert said, we stayed at a high-end camping resort. The people were great. The problem is it's so large that the bad guys sneak over or under the fencing and steal stuff. They even try to break into cars if left unlocked. Haven't heard about them getting caught either. Sad, but times are changing, so be cautious. They also love Yeti coolers. They know what they're looking for.
Kathleen posted this. She said, this is so out of hand. We had our towing equipment stolen, our braking system, everything this past summer at Butternut Grove in New York. And we now put everything away each night, and we installed a Reolink security camera on the rig. There are bad people everywhere. So sorry this happened to you. That Reolink camera is important. I'm looking at one right now, and I should call it up, and I'll post a picture for those of you who watch our YouTube video. I'll put it over the top of the video. And we'll talk more about cameras and what we can do later on.
Okay, now here's the final one.
This is our final indignity.
This came from Susan, and she wrote, I even had my cardboard occupied sign stolen.
There you go. So obviously there is a problem with campground thefts, just because we didn't experience it. The real issue is there are no central clearinghouses where you can gather information on that. And I think that's the big problem. But of 600 stories, and we just shared a sample of them, there were many, 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 many more. Obviously, what surprised us was the variety of items taken. Anything that's not locked up or bolted down.
Well, you know, I think whatever people think they need, they just help themselves. Somehow they think they are entitled to other people's things.
Now, we can't say with certainty that campground thefts are on the rise. But we can say, I think, with that sample, 600 people who took the time to post, that there's a problem. And it's probably more of a societal problem than it is a campground problem. People steal. Now, we should also point out that some people on those posts said they didn't have anything stolen.
Yeah, there was Kathleen, she wrote, never in her 40-plus years have they had anything stolen. We have gone camping in everything from a tent to our present fifth wheel. We have never even encountered anyone but the nicest, most trustworthy people everywhere we have gone. So,
she said, camp peeps are like family. And
they really are.
I think that's right. Linda echoed that. She said, we leave everything, and no one has ever touched a thing except one kind neighbor who retrieved our blown away chairs. And I think that's been our experience, Jen, right?
Yeah, we have not had things taken, fortunately.
The only time we've had anything stolen was on Route 66. We'd stopped for lunch at one point many years ago, right along the Mississippi River. Actually, it was dinner. We stopped for dinner, went in, and when we came back, somebody had broken into our truck. They stole all my camera gear, all my video games, my computers. But that was part of a larger ring. Several other vehicles in that parking lot were stolen, but not at a campground. We just haven't had it. Campgrounds have been just safe spaces for us.
Now, we've had our site taken, because
Yes.
I am a little bit paranoid about leaving things out.
Yes.
And it seems in my memory that somebody did take down a site occupied sign.
We did have a site occupied sign.
And I always
and
thought
it was when we were boondocking
you
someplace.
shouldn't get too fancy or too cute of a site occupied sign, because some people really have nice things that we've met over the years.
That happened. It was out. I want to think that we were in New Mexico or Arizona, and we were boondocking, and we were in a camper van at the time, and so we had gone off in the van exploring, and we had our site, and we just put this side is some rope, and this side is occupied, and we came back, and somebody had taken the rope and the sign. I forgot about that. We had that happen to us too.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Some people say,
some of the people, I wish we had taken pictures and saved it, because we have really seen some fancy and cute
signs,
site occupied. And I've always been reluctant to leave a chair sitting there, because I've always thought the chair would develop legs and walk off.
Yeah.
I guess that's because at one of our homes, we had a couple chairs on the porch, and kids took them away as a prank.
Yeah.
Put them on somebody else's porch.
Now, like I said, many of you have also picked up on that thought that this is kind of a societal issue. Rob writes, camping is not what it used to be. People are so about themselves. Yeah, they are, aren't they? They steal, walk through your site. Even one time we had a guy literally drive a golf cart between us and our friend's camper after it rained, leaving a muddy mess.
There's no excuse for that.
I think, you see it even on the way people drive on the interstates. They weave in and out, they pass on the right, they don't know how to merge. There's just a general lack of manners in this culture in which we're all at each other's throat. Maybe it'll get better now that the election's almost over, but I don't think that's going to help with this election.
I don't.
No matter who wins,
I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah. All right. So we're interested in your thoughts, but here are some of the things that our followers have suggested and that we've also learned. The first is back to my idea of a camera.
Yeah, so that's pretty easy to do. We get beeps right now from our home, our security cameras at home about things going on. We get beeps from our land in Tennessee where we have cameras set up so that we can see what's going on.
Now, I have a camera permanently mounted here, but you could do a temporary one. I have a Real Link, and it's got a little solar charger with it, and it's up on a pine tree.
You don't want to give too many details.
Well, it's too hard for people to get up and take it down.
Well, there's a will away.
Yeah, and then people could shoot something down. I'm not gonna, nothing.
Don't make a challenge.
But what I'm trying to tell you is it's really helpful, because every time somebody comes onto my property, I get an alert, and that's helpful to know.
Dogs running through.
Deer, coyotes, an armadillo even set it off. I adjusted the sensitivity. Yes, there's armadillos in Tennessee. But that's a good thing. And a Ring camera, if you have a Wi-Fi system, that really helps. But other people just get a trail cam, and they put that someplace not very conspicuous for when they're camping, and it shows their site. So those are all good things to happen. Other things that you could do.
Well, put a sticker in a very visible place saying your rig and your campsite is monitored by these different video things, cameras, different things.
The thing people seem to take the most are chairs and coolers. There's a couple things you could do. First thing is identify it.
Remember when we were in the Canadian Maritimes remember the jetty cooler that was taken?
Yes, there was one of those
filled with steaks.
Oh yeah, I forget which campground that was. See, we're remembering our own.
Andrews.
At St. Andrews by the Sea in New Brunswick. Somebody had a Yeti cooler filled with steaks, and somebody had come into the campground and stolen it. Good, yeah. So we know of it. They didn't take anything from us, but it wasn't far from us. Just down a couple of spots.
Yeah, just a couple spots down from us. And weren't they even camping in a tent?
No,
that was another group that were in a tent that had something taken.
But these guys, they had leaving a Yeti cooler out in the open, unsecured.
They had a little tent and put things out in that tent behind their RV.
Like a bug screen, which we need now. but again, that's a pretty valuable thing, these Yeti coolers. It was really valuable with all the steaks inside. But anyway, write your name, take magic marker or make it permanent marker and put your name all over it. And, that helps. It can be identified then. Some people have suggested putting air tags. You'd have to find a way to hide them. That at least would allow you to find out in general where they are.
I think the air tags sound like kind of fun.
Yeah, except the battery wears off after a year
bummer.
or so, and you always got to change them. So, all right, couple more suggestions.
Well, hiding a trail cam.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
We mentioned that. And, of course, big letters. If you're going to mark something, big letters in permanent ink so that nobody's going to take it. And lock everything with a long cable to keep things secure.
Yeah. Motion setting lights.
Oh, I
motion
think that would
sensor.
be fun.
And those are easy to get. However, if you're camping in the wilderness, there are critters that will run through, raccoons, but still, motion setting lights, you can get one, you can exchange it for your porch light and have that go on. Lock your doors always.
Yeah, lock your doors. I mean, that's something, I'm of an age, I remember when we never locked our doors on our home or cars or anything, but these days, I always lock our door when we are inside our house. We keep the door locked on our RV.
Yeah.
We keep the doors locked on our vehicles.
We put gates here in our property in Tennessee, and I shut the gates and lock them at night so people can't drive in.
We have a lock on our water, our electric box.
Yeah, I've locked on all those. Secure your gadgets. Don't leave stuff lying around.
Don't tempt them.
Coolers out of sight. Make sure
Yeah.
you follow that. They love to steal those.
And lock up your bike. I mean, 99 times, but there's that one time.
If you have a portable generator, stow it away or lock it somehow. Another thing they like to take, we're told, are those surge protectors that you put on at the pedestal. And most of those come with a system where you can lock it. Final suggestion is Bo's suggestion.
Get a dog. And Bo does his best to bark, and he feels totally unappreciated because he is Mr. Watchdog.
He is the better than a burglar alarm sounding.
If you heard Bo bark, for
Didn't
those
you?
of you that have
Tell
heard
about
Bo
your
bark.
watch today. Yeah.
Oh, I was sitting in the car waiting for Mike to pick something up, and my watch, Bo saw a dog walking around without a rope on him, and Bo felt he needed to warn everybody that there was this dog wandering around unsupervised. And my watch came on and told me that the sound was too high.
That you were in a high sound
yeah.
environment that was unsafe for your
and
ears.
I was saying, Bo, the quiet command.
Yeah.
And then I've got a little term of endearment that I tell him, and that
Yeah.
usually he goes, what?
Yeah. All right. So bottom line, like anywhere else, you got to be aware. You have to have situational awareness, as my cop buddies used to tell me and urge us to tell our viewers and listeners and readers. And so we pass it on to you. Be situationally aware. Don't tempt thieves. There are thieves out there, and don't leave things unsecured. What are your suggestions? What are your experiences? We would love to hear it. Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. All right, take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got the social media buzz. One of the most exciting developments for RVs is happening out west in Arizona. Western Land and Ranches is selling 5-acre high-elevation ranches just off the famous Route 66, the birthplace of the American road trip. And these are beautiful, secluded tracts of land surrounded by majestic mountain ranges with sweeping valley views. The high elevation is a unique microclimate as well, giving you cooler temperatures, green grasses, and tree cover, making it unique for desert property. The community is in the center of it all, close to the best of the West, Grand Canyon, Las Vegas, Lake Havasu, Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, the Colorado River, Flagstaff, Sedona, and historic Williams. If you're tired of crowded RV parks and paying high fees for sites, well, ownership might be right for you. This incredible collection of mountaintop properties called Greenwood Ranches hit the market, and it's selling out fast. There is no HOA. You can build a house, a cabin, outbuildings, or just RV. It's your property, your way, 100% ownership. Visit the website to get details and set up a showing, ArizonaRVland.net. That's ArizonaRVland.net.
Welcome back, everybody. And now it's time for our very own Wendy Boyer. And she reports on the hot issues and the things that are most talked about this past week on our social media and an RV lifestyle community. And this is always my favorite part, to find out what everybody's talking about.
Hi, everybody. Over in our RV lifestyle community in the general discussion space, we had a post from Mark. Now, Mark, he asked, how many folks have researched some of the emergency procedures before you need it? And what he's talking about there is looking at the manual, learning out things like how to operate your awnings manually, how the slides work, the levelers, do you have shutoffs for individual plumbing fixtures, etc. And this was a fun post to read. Michael made me chuckle. He said, yes, yes, and yes, I was a Boy Scout. And you know those Boy Scouts, always be prepared. Randall says he's still studying his manuals, working on getting through them. And Mark added that he asked this question because once he was at an overnight stop and his hydraulic leveling system would not come up. He had not read his manuals about this, and so he's trying to learn all this in this stressful situation. And so he thought he'd throw out there just how many of you are looking at your manuals. It might be a good idea to do that. And it was a great conversation and great tips. So thanks for sharing that, Mark. And then also in our community, John, he had a question. He said he and his wife have definitely decided to get a Class A, and they're trying to decide whether to buy a pre-DEF or DEF diesel pusher or a gas burner built between 2011 and 2019. And he just asked for the community's thoughts. And there were some great thoughts shared. Suzanne, now she has a diesel truck and she uses it to haul her fifth wheel, but she said the great thing about diesel is when you go get fuel, you can go through the truck lanes, and so you don't have to worry about clearance, just easy in, easy out. Mike and Mark said if you get diesel, you can get open roads. It's a program where you get a really nice discount on your fuel costs. And then Dick and Jane said their recommendation about which way to go really depends on how big of a Class A he's looking at getting. If 30 feet and under, they said, probably gas is fine. But if you're talking about one that's 30 feet or longer, then they would recommend diesel just because of the power and the miles per gallon. So another great conversation. And then over in our Facebook group, we were really busy with lots of things this week. And one that caught my eye was a post from Greg. Now, Greg shared a picture of his fan, his furnace fan, taken out of his rig, and this huge, and I'm talking huge, wasp nest was made in it. And he wrote, found this in my furnace today, started up my furnace, it made this terrible racket. So it sounds like then he turned off his furnace, he took it apart a little bit, found the fan, and this wasp nest was on it. He said, luckily, the wasp nest came off quickly. But wow, what a thing to have in your furnace. And it turns out, after he shared this, that many others have had similar experiences. John, Lacey said same thing happened to them. They turned on their furnace of the rig, weird noise, turn it off, do a little exploring, big wasp nest in there. And Shannon, she said once the same thing happened, funny sound, turned off the furnace, and there was a dead mouse in her fan. So things are getting in these fans. And what was great about this post is there was a solution. And the solution is to get a screen, an insect protection screen over your vents. Ron said it's a must-have, super easy DIY install. And lots of pictures were shared of these screens that you can get to prevent these things from getting in there. And Greg thanked everybody, and sounds like he was headed to Amazon to buy one as the post was live. So it was a helpful post, and hopefully it will help somebody listening to this. And that is it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you over in our RV lifestyle community or Facebook group.
Yeah, we could use those screens around us right now for the gnats. Although they're not as bad today as they were yesterday. They seem to come out when the sun is at its brightest, at least the ladybugs. So we'll see what happens. But I see the gnats are kind of...
The gnats are getting me today. The ladybugs, they are still sleeping, I guess.
In Michigan, we got the problem with the mosquitoes and the black flies in the summertime. And so these are all temporary little things. If you don't like the outdoors, well, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast, because that's what we were talking about, being outdoors. But it kind of goes with the territory. It's not bad enough that we're not retreating inside. We figure that winter's coming, and pretty soon it's going to be too cold for us to be out here. Look at this. It's right now 75 degrees, and it's just gorgeous.
I think for me, the worst experience camping was when it was spring, and these little caterpillars
they
were
drop-
dropping onto the trees.
That wasn't here. That was
no,
in Michigan.
that was in Michigan, and we had to pick them out of your food. You got kind of used to it after I just picked them out. You know, they were everywhere. Kind of grossed out the kids.
A little
kind
bit
of
of-
grossed out me, but you get used to anything, I guess, is what I can say.
A little extra protein never hurt.
No, I didn't eat them. I
All right,
picked them out.
we got some news of the week we want to just get out there for you. The first one is if you like the boondock and you particularly like, this is one of the most beautiful areas in North America, Southwest Oregon. Their Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest is a gorgeous place. So the National Park Service is announcing for people to be very aware if you're driving down some of those trail roads. They have been finding, somebody has been putting wooden boards with nails sticking up through them, and sometimes they're actually hiding these things, these booby traps, under leaves, so you would drive over them or walk over them. And the U.S. Forest Service has issued a warning, and we'll put a picture of what that looks like on the show, on the podcast video version of it as well.
Did you ever think that to go camping you'd have to have a metal detector and somebody walk in front to make sure that the path is clear?
No, I don't know what that's all about, why anybody would do that, but there's a lot I don't understand about society anymore. Sad news for one of our favorite animal creatures and many others, and that is the bear that was known as the Queen of Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park. 28-year-old mama bear was killed. She was just a beautiful bear, very well photographed. She got hit by a car in Snake River Canyon just south of Jackson. What a gorgeous bear. We saw that bear ourselves on our first trip to Grand Teton a dozen years ago.
You know, everybody's in a hurry. You're in the house of these animals, and you can't be tearing around,
Yeah.
people, animals,
This bear, I called her a mama bear because I think she's had 38 cubs that they've tracked over the years.
Yeah.
RV industry news. We've got a couple of investing companies have been really all over Winnebago's with what they're calling a deep fiscal fourth quarter earnings mess is what it is, based on what they say are uncertain retail conditions. Really bad fourth quarter news.
So you're saying it's a good time to buy Winnebago stock?
I think it is. I think Winnebago and Thor Industries, Thor, which makes a gazillion brands, they too have had some problems with earnings and their stock valuation. But they're optimistic, these manufacturers, because what else are they going to say? You know what I think it is, and I mean this I'm not talking about who is running or not. I think it's because it's an election year. People, from our experience, people are just reluctant to. Well, there's inflation everywhere, but people are a little more reluctant to buy big ticket items till they see which way the wind blows in this election.
And this is a particularly. I think this is probably the worst year ever.
Probably the worst we've seen in terms of volatility
seen,
and divisiveness and
Bo's growling. We must be in danger.
Is Bo growling?
Yeah.
There he goes.
Well, he's looking over that way.
There's a lot of armadillos around here.
And we have had a coyote in the daytime zip through. That sounds like a
see
coyote.
why you need to have a dog for security?
Bo has a big bark. We are in danger, and he's telling us, and we yell at him, and he's just not appreciated.
Well, he is appreciated because he's giving us a great value lesson on why you should have a dog with you.
Norwegian elk hounds, Mr. Big Bark.
Nobody's stealing my cooler chair because Bo is on the job.
Oh, but it was embarrassing because when we were in Navarre Beach, a person came up to talk to me, and Bo did his big bark, and I just looked at the man and said, Bo, I was cooking bacon outside. I said, Bo says you can't have any of the bacon. What else can I say?
All right, last bit in our news of the week is Rocky Mountain National Park has closed Trail Ridge Road for the season because winter's coming, folks.
Oh, boy.
At Yellowstone National Park, they've already had some little snows. Most roads and entrances are closed as of November 1st. And then Yellowstone does open up for winter travel on certain routes and snow machines. And it's been one of our goals to go spend a week in Yellowstone in the deep winter. And someday we're going to do that. Wouldn't be able to camp there, but it's worth going.
It
Same
would
with
be.
Glacier.
It would be fun to go there, but then we have our Bobo.
We have our Bobo. Well, somebody will watch Bo for a week. Anyway, Yellowstone opens for winter travel for those of you who can get out there December 15th.
All I got to say is that our younger son was going to watch Bo, and then when he found out his sister was going to get Bo, he had the biggest smile that I'd ever seen in my life on my son.
Yeah, Bo does take his job of security very well.
Yes.
All right, quick break, and then we're back with a couple of RV questions of the week. Stay with us.
When we're asked what's the most important modification we made to our RV, it's an easy answer. Battle-Born batteries. Battle-Born batteries are quality, safe, reliable lithium batteries that allow us to stay out there off the grid longer. Lithium batteries charge faster, they charge fuller, they're longer lasting, they're maintenance free, and Battle-Born batteries are protected by a 10-year guarantee. Now in our case, they just dropped into the existing AGM batteries that we have, and they'll probably be the same on your rig too. Battle-Born battery experts can get those in your rig just like they did with ours. They can also match you up with the right cabling, the inverter, the charger, the solar controller, everything. Jennifer and I swear by our Battle-Born batteries. They allow us to boondock off the grid. Check them out. Go to rvlifestyle.com/lithium. rvlifestyle.com/lithium.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Time for the RV questions of the week. And we want to tell you again, we welcome your questions and your comments. Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. What is our first question?
All right, this is a question that I have always wondered about, and now I know the answer, and I can see why other people wonder about it as well. This is from Jerry, this question. He says, I see a growing number of RVs advertised as 4-season rigs. Does that mean I don't need to winterize it?
Well, the answer is that does not mean that, particularly if you're going to store your RV over the winter time. If you're not going to use it for prolonged periods of time, you must winterize it because when they say 4 seasons, they mean that if the unit is heated on the inside, the pipe and plumbings and everything are in areas that heat can get to, so they're not going to freeze up. Many RVs, probably most that are out there, the pipes are underneath and they're exposed to the elements, and they'll freeze up, if for prolonged, once it gets dropped under 32 for a couple of days, they're going to freeze. So that's why you winterize them. Well, you still have to winterize your RV, because if you're not running heat, that freezing weather is going to get inside your RV, and your RV is going to be under, and those pipes, if heat's not running through them, are going to freeze. So yes, you do have to winterize it. Now, if you're living in it full time, the heat is on all the time, and you're not going to worry about losing electricity, or you're not going to run out of propane, conceivably, yes, you can use that 4 seasons. But I also should point out that there's no RV on the market anywhere that is meant for prolonged sub-zero weather, as you often get in some of our northern states. So when you see 4 season, understand that means you can go camp in it and you can run the water, but if you're going to bring it home and then not use it for a week, and the temperature drops really cold, those pipes are going to get cold because there's no heat in there. Does that make sense?
So just having it plugged in isn't good enough. You need to be living in it.
Well,
you got to make sure you don't run out of propane.
You have to have the heat keeping that well above freezing. And you'll suck through propane when you're running the heater 24/7. So you have to be able to keep that propane filled, or electricity, however you're heating your vehicle. This is our Montana. They say it's 3 season. Now I should also, but you can camp in your RV all 4 seasons. Just don't use running water, and you take your own water, and you can use your toilet, but you flush with antifreeze. We've done that for years. We love winter camping. But if you're not heating the inside of the RV and your unit is in an area where it's cold all the time, as soon as you turn the heat off, those pipes are going to start getting cold. So you got to winterize it. That's my advice. Winterize it. Unless you're living in it full time, and then you better be darn sure that you don't run out of propane or your electricity doesn't go out.
Yeah, and you never know when your electricity might go out,
All right.
and you won't know about it.
Okay, the sun has come out from those trees, and now we're in bright light. But okay, so we got the spotlight on us for the last question. And who's
we
that
are.
from?
This is from Jody, and she says, when will you be announcing next year's gatherings? We so want to attend one of your gatherings, but never seem to get enough notice. Also, have you ever considered doing more of them?
Well, that's a very timely question, Jody, because yes, we have. And in fact, we will. Starting in 2025, we're going to go from having a summer and a fall gathering to having a spring, a summer, and a fall gathering. And I'm not giving too much away, am I, if I say that we are also going to increase the time of those gatherings. Instead of 3 days, or 3 nights and 4 days, we're going to go 4 nights and 5 days. So, yes, there's going to be 3 gatherings in 2025. Now, our gatherings normally sell out within about 24 hours. And so we're going to announce this in a couple of weeks on our RV community, rvcommunity.com. You need to be a member of that. We'll be making a whole bunch of community announcements, in fact, in a matter of a couple of weeks. But one of the key factors is our gatherings are going to be only open to members of the RV community so that they get first crack at them. We will be announcing them. We're really excited about some of the stuff we're going to do in the community next year, and we hope that everybody else is too. But yes, we will do more, and we're going to try and give you more notice so that you can be a part of it as well, Jody. So stay tuned. I'm excited about next year.
I am too.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun next year. It's going to be the best year ever. All right, we're Mike and Jen, and that's it. Now, if you got a question for us, that's how you reach us. Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. Everything we talked about, by the way, you can find links to it on the show notes for this episode. And you find the show notes at rvlifestyle.com/podcast. That's it for this week.
Happy trails.